I usually ask our guests to start. I'm terrible about summarizing other people's books and other people's biographies. So if you just start by telling an esteemed audience a little bit about you and your background in publishing.
Sure. I've worked in publishing for about 12 years now, almost 13. And, it's pretty much like, been the industry I've been involved in since graduating undergrad. So I guess you can probably calculate my age now. Sorry about that. I acquire for adult, young adult, middle grade, and graphic novels, mostly working in science fiction fantasy. I work for Tor Books, which, as you may know, is one of the major science fiction fantasy publishers in the United States. I also acquire short fiction for Tor.com Publishing, which is like our novella arm of the program. So I figure that's a good start. Yeah.
And that is the illustrious Tor office there behind you, correct?
Yes. I was telling Rob earlier that this is like one of our illustrious phone booths. We actually moved offices. We used to be in the Flatiron for over 30 years, and we moved 2 weeks ago, further downtown it's another historic building. It's a larger space, but unfortunately, it's also open planning. So I figured, like, instead of like us sitting and seeing my really boring looking cubicle, you could have this like nice colored room with like the beautiful like mulberry wine walls. So
I think it looks fantastic. I am deeply jealous and wish I could be there with you in the city, living the dream, working there in big publishing.
I'm sure we'll get more into that later, but I definitely think a lot of people really get excited when they think about, traditional publishing, especially when they think about the big five publishers. And it's definitely, I'm feel like extremely fortunate to be in the industry for so long, working for like so many prestigious people, basically working with authors that I enjoy every single day. But it's definitely not without its challenges, especially living in the most expensive city in the country.
I've been, you say that, I've been asking as many publishing professionals as I can, when do we imagine that the big five might start to branch out and maybe move to the Midwest? You could get a real nice office building here in Indianapolis for, I'm sure, a fraction of the rent of what Tor is paying downtown, or even if they had more remote editors. So what is it that still requires everybody to be central in the city, or is it just at this point legacy that it's always been done that way?
It's a lot of different factors. I'm not going to discredit the legacy factor and the storied history, that publishing has in New York City. And I think a large part of it is having access to other media giants, being a media giant that publishing is in itself. And especially when it comes to the creative arts, a lot of projects are really fueled by passion. And I think it is a very I would say it's kind of an old school perspective, but it does have legitimacy when you talk about enthusiasm and face time and being able to convey energy in a room, or like at an agent meeting, or seeing someone like in person and being able to explain to the sales force like, this is exactly why I love this book and that you guys should really be into this too. And I think that has a huge factor into like why traditional publishing, has stuck around New York for so long. But I do think that overall as an industry, in order to evolve, you'd have to be more flexible in terms of like how you manage your workforce and the opportunities you can provide. And, so that's like a smidgen of like all of my thoughts about that, but I hope that helps.